Good evening. My name is John York, and I'm going to be your professor for Senior Projects in Marketing, or Business 454. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to give you a little overview on the course, and hopefully some insights and some tips that will help you be successful. Whenever you do anything, you need to ask a question, whether it's you're doing something for marketing, you're doing something in the class, or whatever. Is everything starts with why. So you may ask, why is this class so important? Outside of the fact that, I need to graduate, is for you, what's important is that it allows you to build on your previous classes in marketing, helps you build your resume, your skills, your connections, recommendations, and maybe a new business idea too. But really, why? Why are we here? Well, we're here for the customer or the client. And this is something that is, I think, unique about this class versus other classes which are not client-facing classes. We're about developing customer loyalty, satisfaction, commitment, experience, and trust. So these are things that you need to think about as we move forward. It's not just about what you're doing, what I'm going to be teaching, but it's about what we're doing for the client. So what are we trying to accomplish? Remember, the center point is strong client engagement and experience. But if you look at the learning objectives of this class, you can sort of boil it down to about 7 items. We want to refine a scope of work. From that, develop a project plan. Build some team skills as we work as a team to execute that plan. We have to be able to pull in problem-solving skills to address the client needs and issues from a marketing standpoint, but also some of the challenges that we may face as a team. You're going to pull on your market research skills from previous classes and strategy and tactical skills that you have from other classes plus from this class as well. Last but not least is you'll learn how to present your points and your recommendations, because it's not what you know, but it's how you communicate it. So what are we going to do? Beginning, throughout, and to the end. We have 10 weeks. We've got a lot to do. In the first week, we're going to form a team and engage a client. We will also, during that period when you are engaging a client, you are going to define a scope of work and a work plan. That will be the foundation for the work that you will be doing throughout the quarter. You'll do the work, and based on gaps that we identify in terms of knowledge and skill, what we'll do is we'll start backfilling that in terms of readings and lectures. So we have several required readings. We do have a few lectures in there, but there are a few lectures I'm going to backfill based on what the needs that your clients and you have, so we can be successful in addressing the client needs. Throughout the class, one of the cornerstones will be regular presentations. There are 5 in total, 4 that are in class and 1 that is a final presentation to the client. It will enhance your ability to communicate, because if you're in client-facing business, you're constantly presenting. And at the end, you will have to complete your work with recommendations and action plan to your client. Now, PolyLearn, we all know it. That's still going to be the base, home base, but not for everything. Quick overview. You'll have my contact information when the class is and where it's going to be. We'll also have announcements, which I use a lot. You'll have the syllabus in the bio, and you'll have potential project client descriptions videos, which I do encourage you to take a look at in that overview section. We will have a 2-week schedule and deliverable due dates section, and that'll be updated every 2 weeks because things will change. So if you feel like there's some things that are going back and forth, if you are working in a client-based business, one thing you have to be very comfortable with is change, because it happens, especially in marketing. And last but not least, we have a few other important sections. There'll be assignments such as getting your required books through Amazon, your team sign up, your team formation materials, And there'll be some academic materials and readings. I'll put a number of lectures that we do or PDFs of our lectures in class in this section. So I don't want to make it too complicated, but this will be our home base. Supplementing our home base will be that you will be sending your deliverables to me via email, and I will be putting my feedback to you in individual drop boxes that will be set up for your teams and for you individually. And in those we'll get your feedback, but also for you guys individually, we will have your midterm grades and where you're standing. Those will be put in the Dropbox. So there's some nuances here. Also is since I do like to use email, there will be announcements. They will be related to things like, what's the latest rubric, or, grades are out for a particular assignment, special news. So those are some things just to be aware of from a communication and functional side. We're going to have some readings. They'll set our foundation. One of the key readings is going to be by Robert Solomon, Art of Client Service. Great book, short, sweet. This guy's a pro. He's been in the advertising business in New York for over 20 years. You'll get a lot of great pearls in terms of dealing with clients. The other side, one of the, I think, most powerful books that I had during my MBA curricula was The McKinsey Engagement by Paul Friga, who used to be a McKinsey consultant. Now he's a professor over at the University of North Carolina. And it's a toolkit to help you with your teams, but also help you in terms of breaking down problems for client problems, as well as building your presentations. We'll have several articles as well, and these are written by folks from McKinsey Consulting. And the point of these articles are really to help you with your communications, because again, one of the themes you will hear is it's not just what you know, but how you communicate. And marketing, it is about communication. And speaking of which, I will have a lecture or two. Okay. We do have a core lecture that's going to be on the consultant toolkit, which is really built on the McKinsey engagement. But as I mentioned beforehand, there are a number of topics that, based on your needs and based on client needs and situation, will need to be either in class or set as a podcast. So I'll need your feedback here. But how? Okay, we talked about why, we talked a little bit about what, but how. The bulk of the work here will be done by you and your teammates. In class, out of class, doing research in the field, talking to customers, using the library, most importantly, engaging your client. Maybe it's every week, maybe it's twice a week, maybe it's every 2 weeks. That communication with your client back and forth will be so critical to being successful. And understanding their needs, keeping them updated with the progress of your work, and your presentation in terms of final deliverable. So now we get to, how do I get evaluated here? Well, while your personal deliverables are critical to your grade, they're about 45%. And we're talking, 2 book summaries, that's 10%. They're short and sweet. We're talking 2 pages per. A reflection paper at the end of class, which is 3 to 5 pages, it's 10%. Class participation, which I'll talk about a little later on. And then peer assessment, which is going to be 15%. So that's, again, a very critical thing I'll talk later on about. But more weight will be placed on your team deliverables, which is over 50%, actually 55%. In the first week, you'll have 10% of your grade because you'll have to talk. You'll have to put together a charter and agreement, a scope and plan, and your first presentation following your first client engagement. That's the first of 4 presentations. You'll then, throughout, have 3 other presentations. You'll have a final client presentation, which is 15%. And guess what? Your client evaluation is worth 15%. So how can I be successful in Business 454? Remember, focus on the client. It starts with how you engage the client. You need to be professional in your conduct and your dress. Okay? This is very, very critical. This is when I go out to see clients. I dress a certain way. I groom myself a certain way. I have an organized agenda. I come in there to make sure that they are, if it's a first time, have the right impression. And if it's a repeat client and an ongoing client, that the impression and the relationship we have doesn't change. It's professional. We also need to be respectful of these people in terms of their time. They're very, very busy people. So time. So be concise, organized. And have a point person. Don't have 5 people trying to communicate with this person. Or persons if you have multiple points from the client. Have one. Remember that you need to add value. Very, very key. And add value to their business, to addressing their problems, specifically the problem that we have focused in our scope. Think through your recommendations clearly. Make sure you have supportive data to support where you want to take the business and address the problem, and have specific actions that they can work with. And last but not least, as I talked about, is your ability to present and communicate well will make or break you. Take your team seriously. Again, focus around the client, but remember to share the work, be prepared, be inclusive to all inputs, not have 1 or 2 people try to drive the team. Be respectful of different inputs. Make sure that we bridge differences. And in marketing, it's a very passionate business, so you will have different perspectives on things. And I've seen this in classes where students will get very passionate and will have differences. But a good team is able to pull together. And this is critical because we've got to focus on the client. And it will show in your presentations, it will show in the work, the product for the client, it will show in your client engagement. So remember, the ability to pull together will make or break you. And ultimately, if you go through the normal curve of team development from, form, storm, norm, perform. If you've done things properly, you will perform. You'll see your presentations will get better and better and better. Class participation is very key, so be there in class. We have 20 classes, so in essence, half a point per class. Quarter point you get for just attending, being on time, and signing in. If you miss it, I'm going to need to make sure that you email me beforehand so I don't count that for or against you. When you're in class, the other quarter point is how engaged you are, how focused, and how respectful. So you ask good questions, you make great comments, you make good presentations, great. If you're playing with your phone, your computer, talking to classmates, doing outside stuff, leaving early, coming in late, your class participation grade is going to reflect that. So you're in charge. You control how you're going to do on the class participation. Be attentive to your deliverables. As I mentioned, email 9 p.m. the night of the date that's due. Why is that? Because I review it that night, in the morning before class, so I can give you feedback. Okay? I would recommend same point person to deliver to me for each team that email deliverable. Make sure it's formatted properly, and in your syllabus will have details around that, both in the document with your names, the title, the assignment number, etc., the date, as well as in the document name externally. I prefer Microsoft only documents versus having stuff come from Google Drive. I will not accept something from Google Drive. So make sure it's Microsoft PowerPoint, because that's how the work world works, and we're doing presentations, that's how things are. Also, I had a team last quarter that tried to do a presentation off a PDF, and unfortunately it didn't work out well. And remember, your deliverables need to look professional. As I mentioned before, it's about presentation. Remember, it's what and how you present it, not what you know. So what we look at is form. Is it on time, organized, professional? Deliverably. Are you engaging? Professional, organized, and on time. And what I mean by on time is it's 5 minutes. You're not going 6, 7, 8 minutes. And content. Focus on the key issues that we defined in the syllabus and the rubrics, because I'll be giving rubrics. Address the client's job to do and anticipates questions and issues. Keep in mind, your presentations are worth 35% of your grade. And a few other items. Be ethical. Don't make stuff up. Don't plagiarize. And own your work. And withdraw from class. If you have to withdraw from class, because this has happened already, I've had students in previous class, be mindful of the deadlines, communicate with me, and make sure you complete your paperwork. So at the end, remember, it's about the client satisfaction relationship. This is why we're here. Okay, we are looking to make sure that we can add value, make our clients happy, deliver. We can't do anything about price, but quality, delivery, reliability, and efficiency, what it's all about. So, are you ready? Are you ready to have some fun? Because this is going to be great, because you're going to deal with a real client. This is going to help you when you go into sales, you go into marketing, advertising, consulting. So be ready to hit the ground running on Monday. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, about your professor, this is me. I've had 25 years in marketing, 16 years in client service. I've owned my own firm for 14 years. I've had degrees from University of Michigan, Indiana, and Cal. And this is my third class at Cal Poly. So that's just some highlights. I prefer my emails. Okay. The communication comes through email, Joe York at calpoly.edu, not JL York at calpoly.edu. There are two of us. And hours are by appointment. So I have class hours after Monday, 2 to 4, but email me so I know that you're coming so I can be there. And if your schedule doesn't allow, then just email me in terms of a schedule that will be able to fit before or after class. Well, thanks for your time. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all on Monday. It's going to be great. We have actually a great kickoff exercise. And if you have questions, let's talk in class on 101.